What is going on, everybody? We are excited. We are back for another episode of the CC Podcast, where we don't tell you what the podcast is about. My name is Mike Sexton. I am the junior high pastor here, and I am with my main man, my main squeeze, the one that loves to imitate me, Jacob Allen Nielsen.
What is going on, everybody? We getting dubs today.
Pew, 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 pew.
Remix. My name is Jacob Allen Nielsen. I'm excited to be here. High school pastor here at Bethany Church. We got a loaded CC podcast for you guys today. A bunch of exciting stories. There is no baby news. The baby is still good in the womb. Maybe not at this point. Wait, what?
No, the baby's out at this point.
Oh.
Because this is pre-recorded.
Oh, my God.
And this is for when,
Yep, wow. This is great. I'm excited for you guys. We're just excited about Mike and his journey, his baby journey, you know, specifically him, his just becoming a dad, doing dad things. You got some good dad jokes you can tell the kids or anybody?
Here's what I got to say for the people.
What do you got?
Kind of hills do cats climb?
What guy?
Mountains.
Okay, well, that's terrible.
Literally your joke.
So bad. Okay, anyways, let's kick on to our first topic.
Come on.
We're talking about pranks, okay?
Come on.
The best pranks that we've ever pulled on somebody.
Okay.
The best pranks that ever got pulled on us. And some honorable mentions, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Some maybe fad pranks, we'll call them. Fad pranks. F-A-D pranks. And just if there's any parents out here or, you know, concerned leaders that are listening to this.
Yeah.
We don't condone pranking.
Or do we?
I think we condone some types of pranking.
Yeah.
There are some pranks that are harmful or can be considered as vandalism.
For sure.
We don't want to promote those.
No.
A good jump scare, that's good old clean family fun.
Come on.
You know what I mean? America's Funniest Home Videos, some dude jumping and getting scared and, you know,
Punching him
Jeff
in the face
Levine
on
going into
accident.
Krav Maga mode. That was hilarious.
Come on.
Make sure you watch the episode of us scaring Jeff Levine. What was that show called?
Blessed or messed.
Blessed. Oh my gosh, it's been so long. I forgot about Blessed or Messed.
Come on.
Anyways, we scare our lead pastor. I guess I'll just talk about that one. That'll be the first one we'll talk about,
Okay.
and then I'll ask you about
Cool.
yours. So we had the show called Blessed or Messed. It feels like at this point years ago. It was only a couple months ago. But anyways, we would spin a wheel, and the wheel had different names on it. And one of the names was Jeff Levine, our lead pastor. So basically, we'd spin the wheel. If you get chosen, we would either bless you or we would mess with you.
Yep.
So obviously, messed means some sort of prank, and the blessed was like get your car washed, buy you lunch, get you a coffee, something like that. Anyways, so our episode of Blessed or Mess, we spin the wheel. We land on Jeffrey Allen Levine.
Come on.
That's actually his middle name, too.
Is it really?
I remember that. Yep, I remember that. Anyways, landed on him. Then we go. We're like, okay, let's see what we get. Then we pull out a mess, and it happened to be Jump Scare. I forgot exactly what the title of it was called, like the specific what was on the card.
I think that's what it was called.
But yeah, we basically jump scared. So Mike and I basically worked with the person at the front desk, aka Amy Coffee.
Formerly at the front desk.
Oh, formerly. Oh yeah, she's over at the school now. Congrats, Amy, to moving on, doing big things. So we worked with her, collabed. She opened Jeff's door. Obviously, we told her what we're doing. We weren't snooping or being creeps.
Yep.
We just wanted to scare our lead pastor. Okay. So Jeff Levine, you know, he has been doing like Krav Maga classes for like ever teen years. And he's like brown belt or something, like kind of higher up.
Yep.
So we were kind of nervous. We were like, what if this dude throws an elbow? You know what I mean? Were you concerned at any point for your health?
I was, which is why I made you be the one that scared him.
Love
I
that.
was in the background, just a nervy boy.
Great. So basically what we did was we got done early from lunch. We went into his office to set up for the camera, and we were just going to jump scare him as soon as he walked in, give him a good like, rah, you know, like one of those.
Nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy. And so basically that exact situation happened. There was like a phone ring at one point while we were sitting there quiet, we were like, oh crap, who is that? But it was fine. Then he walks in, and sure enough, we hit him with the rah or whatever.
Yeah.
And he got terrified. He got scared and went into his Krav Maga karate pose. And it was hilarious. The staff got to watch it. Everybody was dying. And at the very end, my favorite part about this story specifically is that next Monday after that Sunday night, the students that are in our youth group that go to Bethany's school, as soon as Jeff walked onto the playground to go say hi to the students and teachers, students that watched it at youth group were doing the moves at Jeff Levine that he did on camera, which I think is funny.
Just roasting him.
He's like a meme almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just really funny.
Yep.
But let's just start us off. Let's
good.
get some good stories, Mike. What do we
So
got?
I'll go with one that failed. So, you've ever seen the saran wrap over the toilet seat?
Classic.
You know what I mean? Classic, right?
Classic.
So I'm 12 years old. I have some buddies over, right, for, what's it called? To hang out, have a sleepover at 12.
Sleepover.
You know what I mean?
What's it called? A sleepover.
Sleepover. So I go, this is going to be so funny. I have my friends over. I'm going to put saran wrap on the toilet. And I did, and then my buddy went and peed all over it, not seeing it, made a huge mess in my bathroom at my house. So then, obviously, so I didn't get in trouble. I had to clean up my friend's pee off the ground.
Worst case scenario, dude.
Like, I didn't think it through. It was just a
Clearly.
terrible prank. And it just sucks because I had to clean it up. But
Yeah.
it totally worked.
That's
like, it's so hard to see.
Execution was there.
Yeah.
It was just, unfortunately, the end result was you picking up your buddy's pee.
Yeah, not good.
How'd you pick it up?
I just wiped it up.
With like paper towels?
Probably a towel, and then I don't know.
towel
I have no idea. I don't remember.
Dude,
I couldn't tell
if
you.
there's any parents out there watching or listening to this, your kids throw so much of your like good stuff away.
Yep.
I
don't know where it went.
I can't tell you how many countless bowls. I was eating a bowl of cereal, some milk left, threw it under my bed. Then I went to go clean my room, pull that
Moldy.
bowl out. I didn't want to wash it, so I just threw that thing away.
Yep.
I'm
Or like
just
your
not gonna
car.
clean it. Anyways, so perfectly moving on. Perfectly good towels have been ruined because I'm like, I don't know. We'll get into some of those other stories.
Yeah.
I can't start talking about diarrhea stories that I've had.
Ew.
We'll get
Ew.
too deep into that
Ew.
hole. But what a good prank. I love the
It's
execution.
good. I'll share another one with you
Yeah,
really
let's hear
quick.
it.
This was like my senior prank, okay? So it wasn't anything crazy. Like we were talking about earlier, there's pranks that are really not good
Right.
and like are vandalism, and then there's others that are a little bit more fun.
Correct.
This one, you could probably argue either side because the school argued it was a safety hazard, but I disagree.
Yeah.
So going into our senior year, there was like a post or a meme that came out of like a senior prank that was like a safe senior prank, whatever. And it was basically like you just parked like a jerk that day. So you go, our senior parking lot was a senior lot, whatever.
Yeah.
You would go in and no one would park in parking spots. They just park like diagonal and just like go getting super close to everyone's cars and all this kind of stuff, right? And so I post this meme on my Instagram and I say, okay, everyone, we're doing this tomorrow, blah, 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 senior prank, had all my buddies post it, all this kind of stuff. I get to school the next day, whole entire parking lot, everyone did it. I could hardly get my car in to like participate in the thing. And the school was so mad because they said it was like a safety hazard if someone needed to leave, whatever. So I'm like, I get that. But like no one got hurt, no one's cars got hit, nothing got destroyed. The security guard went out and like wrote tickets on every single person's car that wasn't in the lines. But I don't think any of us paid him. We all walked and all that kind of stuff. So it was super funny. Like the picture was hilarious when we got done. I got on top of my car and like took a picture of everything. It was so funny. It was a good prank. Good fun one.
That's so
you know what I mean?
good. I personally, honestly, number one, I love that. Love a good organized prank. You know what I mean? And so, wait, hold on. To go back, the security guard would give people tickets.
Yeah, so he wasn't happy about it. He basically told everyone to go move their cars.
Right.
And he said, if you don't go move your car, you're going to get a ticket. Really? Some people couldn't get their cars out because they were blocked in by other people.
Totally.
And so he's like, if you're not in a parking space by a certain time, so you can go out in between classes, whatever. And he ended up giving some tickets. I don't think they ever made anyone pay for them because we all eventually went out and moved them. Yeah, because we had, I mean, in Washington, it was a really big school. But we had like 600 in our senior class.
Okay.
And so it was like probably 300 cars,
That's a lot of cars,
at least
yeah.
doing that. But yeah, it was fun.
That's freaking hilarious, dude.
It was good.
I love that. For me, I'm not the biggest prankster. Like I'll go have fun and like do silly things. Like not even pranks, but like I was just an idiot, you know? So like I would go and I see it now. I remember I got yelled at. But there was a certain point in middle school where I would just be walking and dive into a bush like one of those like bigger, bouncier bushes that would like be able to kind of support you and spring you
Yeah.
back. And I remember like we were just walking because I lived over off of Carson and Los Coyotes diagonal.
Yeah.
And so I'd walk home. I would walk home from school. It was like literally a quarter of a mile from my house, so it was an easy walk. So we'd walk home with a group of friends, and then I would dive into bushes, and it was like funny, LOL. But then I remember one time there was a lady. She was standing there watching kids as they were walking by, or whatever her woman ladiness was doing. I dived into her bush. She came out, started screaming at me. So me and my friends just ran away.
Yeah.
And in the moment, I'm like, why is she all mad, dude? It's just a stupid bush. But then there's like a child-size imprint in this poor woman's bush.
Yep.
It was like well manicured. So it's funny as you look back, and that's not even a prank. That's just being a jerk,
just being an idiot
and trying to be funny.
Yeah.
So don't do that. That's number one. You don't do things like that.
Yep.
But at the moment, I thought I was like funny, and I got a lot of laughs from my friends.
That's good.
But remember that, you know?
Laughs. I used to do the trust fall to random people in the hallway at school.
Okay.
Like in high school, like I'd see my teachers that I was like closer with, and they'd be like walking with stuff, and I'd literally trust fall them in the middle of the hallway.
I love that.
It's so good. Nooser, my favorite teacher of all time. I was telling you, he caught me. He dropped his stuff and caught me.
That's hilarious.
He's the homie.
Dude, you're a little gaster-gooster, dude.
I'm just
You're
trying to
out
have
here
a good
having
time.
a good
Just
time.
trying to have a good time.
Dude, I remember, so we'll go into fad scares now.
Okay.
Like things that were popular when we were younger. So there used to be this thing called coning.
Yep.
Okay. So basically what you would do
Well
was
aware.
that you dude, so good. It was so stupid. Once again, so dumb.
But
the
it
look
didn't
on your
hurt
face-
anybody though.
No. It just hurt
Cost
your
you a little bit of
wallet.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So basically what you do, you go to like McDonald's or whoever serves a soft serve ice cream cone. And you go through the drive-thru, you and a friend, you know, because your friend would be recording in the passenger seat.
Yep.
And so basically you'd be like, oh, can I get, you know, a cone, an ice cream cone? Just one or maybe a couple for your friends to be able to pass them out. And the last one you would do this thing where basically you'd pull up, you would look them dead straight in the eyes. You weren't supposed to laugh. That was the whole thing. It was like you had to sit there straight face.
Yeah.
As you grab the top of the cone where
Like
you
the ice cream.
the ice cream part, aka you grab the ice cream and then proceed to bring it back into your car and either just drive away or start eating it like a psychotic human.
Like eating the cone part on the bottom with the paper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As they watch you. And it was hilarious reactions. Some people, like, it was such a fad that everybody was kind of expecting it at a certain point. But if you got to the beginning of it, people would be like, wait, what? And then just be so confused. I remember there was this one guy that felt bad and got us another cone. He thought it was like an accident. Like I grabbed it. He's like, I think he just felt so bad for me because he thought I was like,
that's so
an
funny.
idiot or something. And
Like, oh,
actually
I meant to
gave
grab
me
the
another
wrong
cone.
part.
Yeah. So it was just such a funny thing.
Did you
And
grab
then
the second one?
No, I
from
grabbed
the
it
top
normal. I
again?
grabbed it normal. I had like I could only do it for one, otherwise I'd start dying.
Yeah.
And then also for that guy, I felt bad. I was like, I don't want to ruin that one.
For sure.
And he was just being so sweet.
That's so good.
But
That's so
yeah,
good.
that was something. Do you remember coning?
Yeah, so I definitely did that all the time.
Yeah.
But then during that same period of time, I saw a video, and this one didn't get popular really, but it was like giving trophies out, which I had a ton of trophies from just playing baseball as a kid, all that kind of stuff. And I would take trophies with me, and I'd go to McDonald's or whatever. And when they'd hand me my food, I'd say, "You did a great job today," and I hand them a first place trophy, and or an MVP trophy or whatever. And they just hated it.
Hey,
they felt
subtle
awkward.
flex?
What?
Did you subtle flex right there?
What?
You said or MVP trophy. You know what I'm saying? No big deal, bro. Okay, keep going.
As it came out of my mouth, I kind of
MVP.
felt that.
Just keep going. That's so funny. Anyways, subtle flex.
But then one time I had a tournament trophy that was like really big. It was probably like 4 feet tall.
That's
And I had it in my Suburban with me. And I got some food from McDonald's, and I was like, "Hey, you did a great job. I just want to let you know. Here you go. Here's a trophy." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Okay." And I just started pushing it towards them. They're like, "We can't accept anything through the window." And I just like a jerk. I just shoved it right at them through the window and then drove off.
Oh, that's so good.
But hopefully they have it on their
Their
mantle.
home. Dude, I just love the thought of them being like, what do I do with this trophy for the rest of my shift?
Yeah.
What do I do with it?
Yep.
You know, just keep
They
it
probably
in-
just threw it away.
Probably.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But maybe a couple of them took it home. Maybe
Yeah.
they really appreciated it.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Did you guys ever play Fugitive here?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Maybe.
I never played,
Okay.
but me and my buddies, because we're jerks, I was an idiot in high school. We used to go water bombing when people were.
Water bombing.
So you order like 10 water cups from a place like a Wendy's or whatever.
Okay.
You get all your water cups and you just have cups full of water. And then there'd be everyone from every high school playing Fugitive at night. And you drive around and you'd see groups of people and you just huck big cups of water at people and it hit them and explode.
Hilarious. I love that. I love that you were just like,
we got chased a few times. It was so funny.
oh my gosh. Dude, that's hilarious. Yeah, because people are going to chase you, dude.
Yeah, it was wild.
So wild. That's so funny. All right, so the best prank that ever has gotten me, somebody pranked me with this. We were in Bishop. It was a student leadership retreat probably a couple years ago, I think, at this point. And there was like this church where basically we were staying in the kind of like youth group area or like this subsection of like the main sanctuary. But I got a key to open every door. Yeah. So they gave me like a master key, which, probably should have not taken advantage of it. But I was like, I got to go see what the rest of this place looks like. Yeah. So I go into this other part of their like sanctuary area where their youth group actually is. Actually, now that I think about it, I think he said you can go up into the youth group room and we have like a volleyball net. So he's like, you can go up there and grab it, whatever. So it was like an older building. And, if you ever have gone to Bishop, it's a small town. So there aren't many street lights. So once it gets dark, it's like dark out there. Yeah. So you're like, it's kind of scary. And so we don't turn any of the lights on because we kind of want to be scared. So we got our little flashlight things going. And so we're looking around. Obviously, if you're ever in a sanctuary, it could even be like Bethany, which is like pretty newish, more or less. Like it's just a big room. It's not super gothic looking or creepy. It's just like normal chairs or whatever.
It's still sketchy.
Yeah, it is sketchy in there, even at night for whatever reason. And so same thing with this, but it was older, a little bit more run down. And so we're walking around, and so I was going. There's like an upstairs section where the youth group is, and then basically the stairwell that goes down. And so it was myself, I think like Miles Caverly, and like maybe another student or maybe another leader, maybe Brandon Wagner. And then there was 3 students that were going to go scare us. So Sophia, Lizzie, and somebody else, I forget. So they basically just jump scared us. And it scared the crap out of me. I think I might have let out something I wasn't supposed to say. And so, like, just got so scared instantly. And then Miles, like, had his fist cocked back like he was going to punch somebody. So Sophia or Lizzie almost got decked. It would have been bad news. Dang. But that was, like, the worst feeling because it literally felt like my heart, like, skipped a beat for a second. But that was the best prank that I can think of.
That's so good.
And that was just a couple years ago, too.
That's so good.
What about you? Anybody get you with a good prank?
I honestly don't think I have.
No?
Like, not anything that sticks out.
Not memorable?
No. Which is kind of sketchy. It freaks me out because now I think you're going to try and get me.
Murder. Murder.
That's not a joke.
Just kidding.
That's not a
funny joke.
That's not a joke.
That was stupid. Anyways, so go into like now we're thinking if you want to comment down in some sort of comment section, I want to hear some good pranks. Yeah. I want to hear who pranked you. How did you prank somebody? Let us know. Yep. And I think that would just be funny to be able to share stories in this community of people getting pranked or pranking somebody else.
Let's go.
So good. All right. So for our next topic, getting a little segue transition session. We got to talk about, something a little bit serious, something that we just want to be able to share with you guys in our perspectives of what we wish we knew when we were in junior high. Yeah. Gross. And or high school. Sorry, we just had ice cream and a LaCroix, so I'm feeling
a burpy boy.
Burpy. Basically, what is something that we wish we knew, whether that was in junior high or high school. So Mike, do you want to kick us off here?
Yeah. I think the thing that sticks out to me the most, and it's going to sound like I'm diminishing the experiences and feelings that people have in junior high and high school. But one thing I wish I would have done was not taken what people said to me so seriously and to heart. Or even if it was like a really good friend of mine at the time, like what they said that was hurtful, the thing they did that was hurtful. Because a lot of times your friends that you're friends with now our age are not the friends that we hung out with in 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grade, whatever. Right. And so I wish I wouldn't have allowed that. Not saying that your friends aren't going to last that long, but like I just wish, because always looking back, things in the moment are always worse than they really are. My father-in-law says, this is his motto that he lives by. Things are never as good as they seem or as bad as they seem. Yeah. And so I wish I would have known that growing up, because I feel like it would have prevented me from doing a lot of stupid things, reacting just based on pure emotion.
Yeah.
But then also it just gave me a little bit more perspective going into like life. Because once you're past that stage of your life, I don't think about high school at all until me and you talk about it.
Right.
Or like when I'm talking to a student, I'm like, okay, what was I experiencing at this time?
Yeah.
But like now it doesn't affect my life anymore. So it's just like, if it's not going to affect me, and I try to have this mindset now, if it's not going to affect me 10 years from now, I don't want to allow it to affect me too much now. Yeah. So I just wish I would have had a little bit more perspective at that age. Yeah. Obviously, it's hard to do that at that age. But like, if I could go back and like walk next to me in middle school down the hallway, she'd be like, hey man, don't sweat it.
Yeah.
I promise you, you will not think about this in a month or a year. Like, it won't even cross your mind again.
So true. Like, it's so true being, junior high, high school, the stuff that you're experiencing or going through. And this isn't to diminish anybody that is going through serious life-changing things, obviously.
100%.
But I think, if you take the average junior higher or high schooler, the worst things are, failing a test, maybe breaking up with a boyfriend or girlfriend at that point. I don't know, whatever, you and your sister get into a fight, or your friend gets into a fight and they start cussing at you.
Or you're grounded. You
know what I mean? Yeah, your parents, yep, so big. And so it's like those things feel like your world is crumbling in on itself, and it's hard to be able to gain that perspective. But we hope, as students are listening or hopefully listening, we're able to see in that time, like, know that it's not as bad as what it feels like. That's so necessary and good.
Yeah.
To be able to share that with students.
Yeah, and I think too, like, I think a lot of those, we're talking about like social things. We're not talking about like real, like, loneliness and depression and those sorts of things, or like you've been hurt by somebody, like taken advantage of, or any of those sorts of things. We're not speaking to those sorts of things. We're speaking to I failed the test. My boyfriend and girlfriend broke up with me. Yep. Obviously, it hurts. Obviously, it sucks. My parents are yelling at me because I failed the test. I can't go play in my baseball game because they told me I had to get my grades to be able to play. Or I get grounded because I got a detention at school. Or like whatever it is. Like, those are the things we're talking about that like a lot of times affect you and should, because they're important things. But like we were saying, like, that you're not going to think about them in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, I remember the times I got grounded in junior high and high school for like a long period of time. I can remember getting grounded for the whole entire summer. And it sucked. It was terrible during that time period. But when school started up again, it was almost like it never happened. Because I was like with my friends again, doing that sort of thing. So it obviously sucked, but it is what it is. And I'm glad my parents did, because I did something stupid now that I look back at it. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So...
And I think that, as we grow and as we get older, we're able to see and hopefully grow from those experiences, like seeing the frustration that we maybe had if we've gotten grounded. Hopefully at that point, as we're older, we have learned from the experience of maybe not overreacting, and really checking yourself if somebody is frustrated at you or mad at you or whatever that situation could be, is hopefully that you are able to control your emotions. As we know, as you get older, you're able to mature, your brain develops more to be able to do that naturally. Yeah. But hopefully this is a check for like students when they're angry or mad or frustrated at something that isn't, as big of a deal as it is in life, that you're able to check that. And obviously, like, just talking about like momentary trials that we've experienced, the Bible talks about that too, of like there, even in the bigger things, there is like an internal glory that we have with God that we can look forward to. So in those moments, we could be sad and frustrated, feel that way, but know that there's something else in the future that 100%. Is going to hold us down, to make us feel, like we're not alone. So
I feel that. I think another thing I'd say from my own story, I grew up in church, but I actually went to a private Christian school when I was younger too, a lot like Bethany. It wasn't affiliated with the church, but it was on the same campus. And I remember in middle school, I went to a public middle school, and all of a sudden me talking about my faith or like just being open that I'm a Christian became like nerve-wracking all of a sudden for no reason at all. And I think I just wish And I did it a little bit more in high school. But even at the beginning of high school, I didn't. I just wish I was confident in who I was in Christ, because that's something I didn't have. And I don't know if it was whether or not I was still wrestling with like where I sat in that whole picture, which I probably was. Right. But I wish I just wouldn't have been so worried about what people would think of me if I said, yeah, I go to church. Right. Yeah, I believe in Jesus. Yeah, I want you to come with me to church. Those sorts of things. Just because I think the Lord possibly could have used me sooner, possibly could have avoided a lot of the pain that I've experienced in my life if I would have been able to take those things more seriously from an earlier age and not being worried about everyone around me and all those sorts of things.
Totally. Yeah, that's so good. Like to be able, and that's so hard because number one, I didn't grow up in the church, as most of you probably already know at this point until after high school. Mm-hmm. But like to instill that confidence in students, it's so hard. Yeah. Because so many students, feel awkward or uncomfortable about having that conversation of I go to church, or, people say like, oh, I go to youth group, but nobody says like I'm sold out for Jesus. Yeah. It's like youth group can be like a fun sort of like light thing. Yeah. But when you're like, I am a follower of Jesus, like there's a seriousness there that comes to it that like is really hard for students to be able to get out.
Yeah. Even adults to do now.
Gosh, so true. So true. Especially, now it seems like the world or people our ages are going kind of away from Christianity or even labeling.
It's cool that it works for you, but it's not like it's not like the overarching, like it's not the truth. Totally. It's that works for you. Great. Cool.
True.
But
true. Yeah. We could even talk about that in the future, a future podcast of like Christianity now, what it looks like, the perception of being a Christian, and kind of the things that people assume that you are as soon as you're kind of cast into that group, which some of it for good cause. Like anyways, that once again, another conversation. I don't want to jump into that too much, but as we're, sharing about like being able to, or wanting to, thinking of things that we could tell ourselves when we were younger. Like, I think for me, like, once again, it would all be about Jesus. It's like, for sure. Seek that out, find that, like, whatever. But, like, I think about just, like, personally, like, I wish I would just have talked to my friends more about the crap that they were experiencing. Yeah. Like the hard crap, like getting grounded. You talk to your friend, oh, that sucks. Sorry, man. Yeah. Or whatever. But, like, there was, like, real life stuff that I knew my friends, or actually, okay, so a real life example, my buddy who has listened to this podcast, I'm not going to name his name, but like hit me up and started to share like about how he liked that I was over his house all the time because he was getting abused by some of his parents. Yeah. And started to open up and share that, we're 27 years old. Yeah. And like, I didn't know that back then. Like I was just going over to my friend's house cause he had a pool and cause we liked playing video games together and we were really good buddies. Yeah. And like, I wish there was a point where I felt like I can open up about my own experience in some of those things. And so that maybe he could have then opened up about his. Yeah. And there could have been like a connection there and a feeling of knowing like, hey, your experience is known, like the crap that you're going through. Yeah. So I wish, as a junior high or as a high schooler, it's hard to get into deeper conversations. Yeah. I had a buddy whose mom died in junior high, and she died of cancer. Yeah. And like, obviously I don't know how to open up that conversation. Yeah. And I remember just spending the night at his house and it was like a week after the funeral or whatever. But like, I wish there was, I knew, or I was able to have some sort of conversation of like, or how are you feeling about that? Yeah. And whatever, to be able to share. And I think there's an opportunity of like not knowing what to say, and that's scary, But I think if you just ask somebody like, hey, how are you doing with this? Or like, hey, I know like your mom passed away. How are things going with that? Yeah. It would be a hard conversation, awkward. Probably you wouldn't even know how to respond. Yeah. And then you could just move on. But I think that person would know is like, hey, I see your hurt. I see your pain and know that I know about it and like want to know more. Yeah. So I don't know how,
for sure
8th grade me would even be able to do that. I don't know if I would ever be able to, but I would love to be able to go back and tell myself to do things. Yeah. Like
that brings up another thought for me too, is like, I wish I would have been more honest about where I was. Right. You know what I mean? And you were sharing, like, if I was honest about the things that were broken in me or hurting in me, he probably would have been able to open up and we would have been able to have a good conversation. But another thing, just like on a very general, like just be who you are, like who God designed you to be.
Right.
And back to my first point of like, you're probably not going to be friends with the people that you're friends with right now in 20 years anyways.
Totally.
If they don't like you being the real you, then I can promise you, you are not going to be friends with them in 20 years.
Totally.
So like the fear of like, oh, I'm not going to be liked. It's like, well, then don't, like, you shouldn't be hanging out with them anyways. They don't care about who you actually are.
So true.
You know? And like, again, this topic is like, we didn't do it because it was extremely hard.
Right.
And we didn't even know that was something that was possible.
Yeah.
But looking back, if I would have just been 100% myself, gosh, I would have known who my friends were.
Yeah.
I would have known who I was.
Yeah.
I would have known I had people that love me and care for me and are there for me no matter what. And I wouldn't have to deal with the brokenness of like, oh, I thought they cared about me, but then they screwed me over or whatever. Or you wouldn't have to deal with those things because you would know who really cares about you. And if they don't, later, you know what I mean?
Seriously, it's like this fear of loss of something like gets us to a point where like we don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to ask my friends about this, and this because I'm scared I can lose them. Yeah. Which in turn, like if you lose them, whatever. Yeah. But the growth that you can have with the kids that actually respond really well is going to be so much more worth it than whatever loss could happen. And I know that's always, and that's terrifying. It paralyzes us to in fear of losing something, whatever that is, even in relationships like boyfriends and girlfriends. And we're getting kind of off topic at this point, but like if you're scared you're going to lose them, so you never want to tell them like, hey, I would like you to do this for me, or I want to be treated this way, or I see that you do this way and I would rather be treated that way, not being needy or naggy. Yeah. But like we're so paralyzed that we could potentially lose that person because of that conversation
100%.
That we'll like endure this whatever crap in that relationship you're experiencing and never advance in that relationship.
So good.
That's something like I'm even learning now as like being a new husband. Is like this paralyzing fear of what like potential loss could be, which in turn there's so much more gain if you actually have that. Like 5 seconds of bravery or whatever that what's that movie? The something about the zookeeper or something where it's like
I don't even remember.
It's something about we bought a zoo.
Yep.
That's what it is. It's Matt Damon teaching this kid like 5 seconds of bravery is like worth whatever anybody could do it or something. Yeah. And like he does it and that's so true. Yeah. So I don't know. That's just something. Also, Jacob Balmer, if you're listening to this episode, I know how much you love We Bought a Zoo. So that's a special shout out to you specifically.
Also, another shout out to you. I just acted like I've watched that movie, which I probably have, and I acted like I remembered, but I don't remember.
I love that.
That part.
I love that. Yeah. And like, thinking about, there's just so many things I would tell myself, like as a junior high or high schooler. Don't take yourself too seriously. Yep. Like in junior high, we had like maybe it was like 150 kids in the graduating class or something like that. So it was a lot smaller because graduating class in high school graduated with like 1,000 kids. Yep. You know, so I was like super outgoing in junior high. I was like willing to be dumb and silly or whatever, and I was still willing to do that in high school, just not on like a public sense or like in front of everybody. It was like in front of my group of friends, and I wish I was more outgoing. Like I wish I just did more things that would have put me out there more to gain more life experience. Because in high school I was reserved in a weird way. Once again, with my pocket of friends, I would be stupid and loud, as most of you probably know I am. But like if it's like in a grand scale with like a bunch of people I don't know, I don't always do that, and I'm not always as outgoing in that way. So wishing to tell myself like you could have gained so many more friends and experiences just if you put yourself out there more. And like. Whether that's, doing a drama class, I feel like I would have killed it.
You would have done good.
At like a theater class, I would have ate that crap up, I think.
You would have done great.
But there's like a perception of like, oh, if you're in a theater, you're a freaking nerd. And once again, that's like loss of friends. Like that fear of like, if I do this, I'm going to lose my friends because they're going to think I'm uncool. Sucks, and it's paralyzing. So like, if you want to be in theater class and your friends are going to call you lame, who cares? Lose those friends. Once again, you're not going to keep them because you're going to be around brand new people 10 years from then. That will love you and accept you for who you are. This is a good one.
I'll say one more thing before we close it up. The last thing that I would say, that I would tell myself is you don't have to have it figured out.
Oh, so
Like, you
true.
don't have to have your 10-year plan at 15. You don't have to know what you're going to be doing at 30 when you're 18. Like, you don't need to know what degree you want to have going into college. Like, take your first 2 years and figure out what you enjoy studying and then decide 2 years in. Like, you do not have to figure it out, because even if you say you have it figured out, you're probably going to change multiple times.
Oh my gosh.
Like, the amount of career changes, we could talk about that another day, but there's a statistic where the average person changes like career paths like 6 times by the age of 35.
Totally.
So
Yeah. So many of my friends have like, I'm going to school for this, graduated,
never use it.
college, never use it, or go back to school for something completely different.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, it's okay to not have a plan. It's always hard. There is a tension there, right?
Yeah.
Of like, obviously you can't just float around in life and be some like leaf, you know, you could actually, but like, you know, most people need some sort of structure. Some sort of plan generally to get things started. But then also, like, you don't need to stick so strictly to that plan that if that plan alters at any point, it's crippling once again to a point where you feel like you're failing.
So good.
It's just like there's an alter in your plan, and that's fine to be loose, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously going down a path, but it's okay to be loose with it.
For sure.
You don't need to be so structured.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Dude, this was a good episode.
That's what I'm saying.
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
We love you guys.
We miss you guys.
And we're excited to do this again in a week.
Come on and be a part of, hopefully your ears, hopefully you got your earbuds on and you just feel like we're giving you a good old ear hug. There's a thing, that's not a thing. Anyways, my name is Jacob Nielsen. That is Michael Sexton. We love you. We miss you.
Peace.
Peace.